السيد دينو فاركي، الرئيس التنفيذي لمجموعة جيمس للتعليم، أهلا ومرحبا بك.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
بداية لنتحدث بشكل مختصر عن عدد المدارس الحالية التابعة لشركتكم في أي إمارة، أيضا بعدما شهدنا زيادة سكانية في دبي، هل تعتزمون أيضا بناء مدارس أخرى؟ هل هناك خطط للتوسع؟
Again, GEMS education, at least in terms of the number of schools that we have. We've got 45 schools here in the UAE, another 2 in Qatar. But if you take our portfolio sort of globally, we're 90 schools, about 200,000 students, about 15,000 teachers. This year has been a very good year because we've just welcomed 1,700 new teachers to the GEMS family. And look, it's an exciting period to be in our sector and in this business. In terms of students, I mean, the growth that we expect to see in the UAE is about, call it 5 or 6%. That's typically the enrollment growth percentage that we would expect to see. But I think more importantly, you asked about, what does the future look like? Certainly investing in building a new capacity, new schools, new extensions within the UAE is going to be incredibly important because obviously the UAE has an ambitious national agenda. Dubai has the Dubai 33 agenda as well. So, even if you were trying to meet 30-40% of the ambition of D33 as an example, you would need to double the size of the private education market. So we're just under 400,000 today. You need at least 700,000 students worth of school spaces. So focusing on the UAE at the moment makes sense. Obviously, we want to diversify geographically, and whether it's Saudi Arabia, other countries in our region, and looking a little bit further afield as well in terms of our expansion.
ما حجم الاستثمارات التي تعتزمون لضخها في الفترة المقبلة للتوسع؟
So within the UAE specifically, we've already had obviously a year of investment, but after another 2 years, we will probably look to spend about $350 million towards building new schools and or building new capacity.
هناك من يرى أن تكلفة مدارس جيمس في دولة الإمارات مرتفعة جدا مقارنة بمدارس جيمس في المنطقة، فما السبب وراء ذلك؟
So one of the things I would say first and foremost is that we're really proud of the fact that we offer schools at different fee levels, different curricula. We're really proud of the fact that we provide that choice. But if you were to compare schools that we have here in the UAE relative to, for instance, schools that we have in Egypt, it's simply the operating costs in the UAE are much, much higher than it would be in Egypt. Hence, the fees are different.
لنتحدث قليلا عن الشراكة الاستراتيجية ورؤيتكم في النمو. هناك العديد من الشراكات على مدار السنوات، ولكن آخرها كان تحالف مع بروكفيلد، مؤخرا حصلت على حصة كبيرة جدا في المجموعة. ما الذي يمثل هذا الاستثمار بالنسبة لمجموعة جيمس للتعليم؟ وأيضا على ما أعتقد أن هناك قدر بحوالي 2 مليار دولار، فهل هناك أي تغيير في مستقبل أو الاستراتيجية لمستقبل جيمس للتعليم؟
Obviously, Brookfield and the Brookfield-led consortium came into the business July of last year. Very happy with their investment, that partnership. But they're the 4th investor that we've had in the last 20 years. So we had CVC Capital before that. Before that, we had a consortium that was led by Blackstone and Fاركي Capital. So we're not new to institutional investors being in the business. I would hope that through all of the different periods that they've been in the business, our education strategy and our education philosophy has always remained the same.
توجيه هذه السيولة أو استثمارات هذه السيولة، هل الأولوية للتوسع الجغرافي أم الأولوية لتطوير المدارس الحالية أم أيضا للاستثمار في التكنولوجيا المتقدمة كتكنولوجيا الذكاء الاصطناعي؟
So GEMS's capital structure, obviously, it's well funded. It's a fully funded capital structure for the business plan that we envisage for the next, call it 4 more years. But of course, we will continue to invest and look at investing in what we think of our important areas. We talked about artificial intelligence. We'll invest in the technology platform. We will look at new initiatives that we believe will fundamentally improve the quality of education provision that we can provide to our students. So those are all things that we would typically invest in. We invest in our people, our teachers, our education leaders. That's all obviously a priority as well.
أعلنتم مؤخرا عن خطة لإنفاق 300 مليون دولار لزيادة الطاقة الاستيعابية.
Yes, in terms of the capacity that we're building over the next few years, yes, it's about $300 million that we'll deploy.
ما هي الشرائح التي تستهدفونها؟
All of them. Of course, because again, we would like to think that we're serving and supporting the country and the nation's growth. The reality is the nature of population growth is across the board. Yes, there's been a significant reallocation of high-income families in the last 2 years, but there's still demand across the system.
وفي أي المناطق هل داخل الإمارات أم خارجها تكمن فرص النمو الأكبر لذلك؟
At the moment, for the next 2 years, it'll be very focused on the UAE, just because that's, again, where we're seeing the most opportunity. But after that, we'll go beyond that.
مؤخرا حصلتم على تمويلات بقيمة 3.25 مليار دولار.
That's from our banks. Yes, that's correct.
مرتبطة بالاستدامة. لماذا اخترتم هذا النوع بالتحديد من التمويل؟ وما هي الرسالة التي توجهونها للسوق المالي والقطاع التعليمي من خلال هذه الخطوة؟
Look, one, it was certainly very important for the banks that were investing in us to make sure that there was a sustainability element to the funding and financing that they were providing us. Education is social infrastructure, so we like to think that sustainability is core to everything that we do. And look, a big part of what we are doing internally within the business is driving much greater sustainability initiatives across the business. So whether that's leveraging solar power to a much greater extent, to planting trees at our school, well, not planting trees in our schools, but our students from our schools actually choosing to plant trees across the country. Those are all things that obviously benefit the sustainability component of our financing, and ultimately, if we're successful in hitting those targets, actually the pricing of our financing goes down.
بالانتقال إلى محور الذكاء الاصطناعي والابتكار، تستعدون حاليا لافتتاح مدرسة جيمس للأبحاث والابتكار باستثمار بلغ 100 مليون دولار، وأيضا رسوم تصل إلى 200 ألف درهم إماراتي للطالب الواحد. ما الذي سيحصل عليه الطالب بالمقابل لدفعه هذه الرسوم، وما الفجوة أيضا التي تسعون لملئها في سوق التعليم في دبي؟
Dubai has gone through and the UAE has gone through very many inflection points. At every inflection point, we've been very good at understanding where the opportunity sits within the market and creating a school that best fit that inflection point. Our founder and chairman was very clear that we were at another inflection point, and that demanded that we create a school that has not been seen in Dubai or the UAE before, but frankly hasn't been seen in the region before. And I would argue there are only a handful of schools like it worldwide. The fee point is governed by the nature of people that we're bringing to the school, the nature of infrastructure that we're building. This is the most expensive school that we've ever built. And frankly, the nature of curriculum and collaborations that we're bringing to this market. Look, we would hope that the students and families that are experiencing SRI are experiencing an education that truly, truly, truly sustains them for whatever future.
مؤخراً أطلقتم المركز العالمي للذكاء الاصطناعي في التعليم. فما هو الدور الذي سيلعبه الذكاء الاصطناعي في مدارسكم المستقبلية؟ يعني هل نتحدث هنا عن مساعد للمعلم؟ هل نتحدث عن تغيير جذري في طريقة تصميم المناهج وتقييم الطلاب وعرضها عليهم؟
So I think artificial intelligence, independent of what we do, has having a pervasive impact on on all sectors. But I think as far as education is concerned, look, the role that AI can play is one where, whether it's enabling teachers to really focus on students, provide them with a much more hyper-personalized learning environment, can it change the nature of the way in which we assess our students? It's going to be incredibly pervasive, but I suppose the way that I typically describe it is we've got a global teacher shortage in education of about 70 million teachers. That's a shortage that can't be bridged with traditional solutions. Things like artificial intelligence, machine learning, they frankly give us a catalyst to address what is frankly one of the biggest problems the world will face, which is, can you provide quality education to every child? So AI is going to be a powerful enabler. I think the onus is on all of us to be able to ensure that we're using it in the most effective way.
وفي سؤالنا الأخير أريد دينو فاركي أن يقول لي بعد 10 سنوات من الآن كيف ترون شكل مجموعة جيمس للتعليم؟ ما الإرث إن صح لنا التعبير الذي تأملون في تركه في قطاع التعليم سواء على المستويين بالطبع المحلي وأيضا العالمي؟
I think, let me give it to you very simply. We certainly have an ambition and aspiration to be the most positively impactful company in the world by virtue of what we do. So in 10 years, ask me again if we've got there.
شكرا لك على وقتك سيد دينو فاركي، الرئيس التنفيذي لمجموعة جيمس للتعليم. شكرا على إتاحة هذه الفرصة، وشكرا أيضا على المعلومات.